Welcome to an astrological case study, The Seeker and the Wound. Professor Piscean here, Department of Comparative Cosmology. The natal chart presented, which is mine, offers a profound narrative of a soul poised between immense sensitivity and a karmic mandate for resilience. This individual's life story is not one of ease, but rather a poignant journey from the fog of familial disillusionment toward a hard-won state of spiritual clarity and service. Using the symbolic language of astrology, we can delineate the specific challenges the character is involved and the latent potential for triumph. The foundation of trauma, the natal family. The core of the native's early trauma is rooted in the dynamics of the immediate family, primarily illustrated by the fourth house, home and mother, and the planetary influences governing the father and siblings. The mother, fourth house, and Cancer. The fourth house, representing the mother and the home environment, is ruled by the moon. Here we find a full moon in Libra in the sixth house of health, service, and daily routine. This placement suggests a mother who is deeply concerned with appearances, harmony, and fairness, but who may be emotionally labile and inconsistent. The full moon indicates a polarity, perhaps between her need for a peaceful domestic life, Libra, and the reality of her responsibilities, sixth house. The moon square to Mars and Capricorn in the ninth reveals a central conflict. The mother's worldview or beliefs ninth are at odds with the native's emotional needs. She may have been critical, disciplinarian in an impersonal way, Mars and Capricorn, or she may have experienced a great deal of stress from a dogmatic or absent partner, which she inadvertently took out on the child. The moon's trine to Neptune in the 10th, however, adds a layer of idealism and confusion. The native may idolize the mother or perceive her as a victim, creating a fog around her true nature. She is not malicious, but rather unable to provide the stable emotional container the sensitive Cancerian fourth house craves. The father, symbolized by Saturn and the sun. The father's role is complex. The sun, a primary father symbol, is in Pisces in the 11th house conjunct Venus and Uranus. This suggests a father who is imaginative, perhaps artistic or spiritual, but also unreliable, unconventional, and emotionally distant. Pisces, his presence in the 11th house conjunct Uranus indicates he's more of a friend or a fascinating idea than a grounded paternal authority. He may have been physically or emotionally absent, lost in his own world, or his life may have been marked by sudden upheavals, Uranus. However, a more brutal testimony comes from Mars opposition Saturn. Mars, action, assertion, and Capricorn, authority in the ninth beliefs law, is in direct opposition to Saturn, restriction, the father, and Cancer, nurturance, and third, siblings, early environment. This is a classic aspect for a harsh, authoritarian, or blocking father figure. The father's discipline was likely cold, restrictive, and felt deeply unfair. He may have imposed rigid belief systems, ninth house Mars, that stifled the native's emotional expression, Saturn and Cancer. The Jupiter square Saturn further amplifies this, creating a dynamic where opportunities for expansion, Jupiter, were consistently crushed by paternal restriction or criticism, Saturn. The father is the primary source of the native's understanding of limitation. The siblings, third house in Gemini, ruled by Mercury, Saturn, and Black Moon, Lilith, in Cancer in the third. The presence of an older sister and brother, 30 years the native senior, is astrologically significant. The third house of siblings is occupied by Saturn and Black Moon, Lilith, in Cancer. This is a deeply troubling placement. Saturn here indicates that the siblings, particularly the brother, Saturn as masculine, were experienced as restrictive, disciplinary, or as burdens. The 30-year age gap is perfectly symbolized by Saturn. They are more like stern aunt and uncle figures than peers. Black Moon, Lilith, and Cancer in the third is the most potent indicator of sibling trauma. It points to a deep, festering wound related to the primal dark feminine rage, rejection, and instinctual betrayal. The older sister, in particular, may have been a source of profound emotional manipulation or neglect. She may have resented the native's arrival, acting out a kind of stepmother energy, failing to provide the nurturing one expects from a sister. This creates a lifelong wound around communication and trust within the familial peer group. The native likely felt like an only child, and a profoundly isolated one at that. The sequence of early life events. The native's childhood would unfold as follows: a early home life, fourth house Cancer, that feels emotionally insecure, with a mother preoccupied with maintaining peace but unable to shield the child from the father's harshness. The father's unpredictable Sun Uranus yet rigid Mars Saturn opposition nature creates a confusing environment. The older siblings, instead of offering protection, compound the isolation through emotional coldness, Saturn, and potential psychological cruelty. Lilith, a key event in late childhood, early adolescence, will be triggered by transits to Mercury in Pisces, square Pluto in the 8th. This could manifest as the discovery of a family secret, 8th house, a profound betrayal through communication, or a transformative but shattering conversation that reveals the hidden power dynamics and pathologies of the family. Life's general rough patches, thematic challenges. The native's life will be marked by recurring themes of crises and rebirth. Firstly, health and service, 6th house stellium with a full moon Jupiter and Ketu South Node, Ha and Libra in the 6th. The native's daily life and health are a primary arena for karmic lessons. There will be a constant struggle to find balance, Libra, in work and well-being. The South Node here suggests past life over-involvement in service or codependency. In this life, they must learn to serve without losing themselves. Stress-related Libra and hormonal or lymphatic 6th house Moon Jupiter issues are likely. The square from Mars can indicate accidents or inflammatory conditions. Secondly, crises and transformation. Pluto in the 8th house in Sagittarius ensures that the native's life will be periodically torn down and rebuilt. This pertains to shared resources, inheritance, and psychological depths. The Mercury square Pluto aspect gives a mind that is relentlessly probing, suspicious, and capable of unearthing painful truths. This will lead to power struggles, especially verbal and psychological ones. They will be drawn to crises and have a phoenix complex, rising from the ashes of their own and others' transformations. And thirdly, spiritual confusion and isolation. Rahu in Aries in the 12th. The North Node Rahu in Aries in the 12th reveals the soul's destiny to forge an independent identity, Aries, through spiritual surrender and confronting the subconscious, 12th. However, this path is fraught with confusion, potential escapism, 12th, and a feeling of being spiritually lost at sea. The square to Saturn reinforces that this spiritual isolation will feel like a heavy karmic burden. The conquest in the life story. This is not a chart of defeat, but one of profound, hard-earned victory. The native salvation lies in the very fabric of their wounds. The conquest of familial trauma. The ascendant sextile Saturn is the key. This aspect provides an innate, gritty resilience. The Taurian ascendant gives them a fundamental earthy endurance. They will, through sheer persistence, process the early restrictions and slowly build a sense of self-worth that is independent of their family's validation. The MC midheaven trine the moon offers a vocational outlet. They will find public success and a sense of purpose, MC, through healing their own emotional wounds, moon, and then helping others do the same, likely in a field related to therapy, holistic health, or the arts. The conquest of life's challenges. The Mars in Capricorn in the 9th, despite its difficult aspects, is a powerhouse of discipline and ambition. When this native directs their energy Mars toward higher learning, philosophy, law, or travel, 9th, they achieve mastery, Capricorn. This is their escape velocity from the gravitational pull of their past. Furthermore, the Sun, Venus, Uranus conjunction in Pisces in the 11th is their ultimate gift. This bestows a radical, unconventional compassion. They will find their tribe, 11th, among artists, visionaries, and eccentrics who accept them for their unique sensitivity. This group will become their true family. Painting the life story picture. The native's life will begin in a house of emotional whispers and cold hard rules. They will feel like a ghost in their own family, misunderstood by siblings from a different era, and wounded by a father who could not love freely and a mother who could not protect. A adolescent crisis will shatter their illusions of plunging them into a period of deep introspection and rebellion. In their 20s and 30s, they will grapple with their health and search for a meaningful career, often feeling like a servant, 6th house South Node, but through the struggle, they will discover their healing vocation, MC trine moon. They may undergo a significant psychological or financial transformation, Pluto in 8th, that forces them to shed the last vestiges of their familial inheritance. By midlife, the early trauma becomes the source of their strength. The isolated child becomes the wise elder, Saturn's maturation. They will write, teach, or counsel from a place of deep knowing. Their father's rigidity taught them discipline. Their mother's sensitivity became their empathy. Their siblings' coldness forged their independence. Their story is a testament to the alchemical power of the human spirit to turn leaden childhood experiences into the gold of wisdom, using the planets not as fate, but as the raw materials for a life of profound meaning and service.